Hi guys, welcome back to Let's Go Mental. If you're new here, my name is Warime Karinge. I'm a mental health warrior and a mental health advocate. Now, in today's video, I'd like to talk about dating and having a mental illness. This is a topic I've actually never talked about until recently when I did my Instagram live sessions that I have every Tuesday called Once Upon a Time. And we talked about dating and mental illnesses, and we got to realize there was quite a bit that is actually never discussed openly. So today I have a few tips for you on how to, if you want to start dating or you're already in a relationship, some of these tips actually will really be beneficial to you. So what is the first tip? Number one, and most important, is that you need to love yourself. No one else will love you as much as you love yourself. You need to remember that you come first. And when we say coming first, it doesn't mean that you're being selfish, but you put your needs first. You do not allow other people to come and trample over you, or other people to come and even lord over your life. You know, love yourself and know exactly who you are and what you want. I know it's very difficult to fully love yourself, especially if you're someone struggling with a mental illness, because I know the struggle is very difficult. There's the aspect of low self-esteem, lack of confidence, doubting yourself. I mean, with all the pain that comes with a mental illness, there's a lot of, there's a very big element of not loving yourself, which is very detrimental to you. And if you're not yet, if you feel that you need to start working on yourself, this is the time. Today, start it. Start the journey of self-mastery, loving yourself, knowing who you are, knowing what you want. And please note, this is not an overnight journey. It will take time. It takes time, practice, discipline, you know, all those things. So just remember, first tip, love yourself. The second tip is that no one is going to save you. You're the only one who can save yourself. So don't go out looking for a relationship in the hope that this person is going to save you from your condition and get you better. No one can save you, my dear friends who suffer from mental illness. We are the only ones who can save ourselves. You can save yourself. No one else can save you. The third tip is, being in a relationship will not cure you. We have that perception of, okay, maybe if I have someone who loves me, if I have someone to hang out with, to laugh with, to cry with, then I will be cured. Guys, that is not the case. And in fact, even I know a couple of people who have mental illnesses and are in relationships, and it is very difficult for them. So having that partner, and it's very unfortunate that some of them have actually said that they would prefer to be single than be in a relationship and battling a mental illness. This is not to say that someone with a mental illness cannot be in a happy relationship. All I'm trying to say is that being in a relationship will not save you, or it will not cure you of your condition. It is up to you to be able to come up with coping strategies, get to understand your condition, and everything else that encompasses your mental health and your mental well-being. Then the other point is that have a plan for your episodes. What I mean is that, for example, I have an emergency plan for when I start falling sick. So for example, I have a playlist of music that I love, I have a playlist of sermons, and I also have a playlist for motivational talks. So these are things that I will start playing in the background. I don't actively listen, just playing in the background, and slowly getting reminded about positive things in life, whatever. I mean, of course, sometimes it doesn't just take one day and I wake up and I'm good to go. It has to, sometimes it will take longer than expected. Sometimes it can take a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you know, but I have that emergency plan in place. Then also I have certain friends who I know who I can call, or I've already shared with like some very close friends of mine. When I am unwell, they do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. In the very same way, when you're in a relationship, come up with an emergency plan, Sit down with your partner, tell them that, you know what, if this and this happens, this is how you need to handle the situation. And then also get input from them as well and know how you can work together. So that is another thing. Make sure you communicate your emergency plan when you're having episodes. Another tip is be open and don't expect the other person to guess what you're going through. Well, this is something we usually do generally as human beings, but it is actually something that we really need to change. And especially if you are someone who struggles with a mental illness, do not expect the person to guess what you're going through. They have no idea what having a mental illness is. They have no idea what having low energy is. They have no idea whatsoever. So as opposed to getting upset and either having silent treatment or having a dome just because the person did not guess what was going on, be open enough to tell them this is exactly what happens. This is what goes on. If maybe you do ABCD, it is actually a trigger. So have those open communications and do not expect the person to guess or to know exactly what it is that you're going through. And then we also need to know that people are different. Don't set expectations for people or expectations of how they're supposed to act around you. Everyone is different. And what I can say is that from my own experience, family and friends, everyone reacts differently. Everyone reacted differently when I was first diagnosed or when I usually have my relapses. Everyone normally reacts differently. So you take that person as they are. Remember, this other human being that you're setting expectations for also have expectations of you. They also have their ideals of how life should be or how relationships should be. So do not set expectations on everyone in the same way. Again, again, communication, very important. Don't just set expectations and imagine this person will go with according to what you want and how it needs to be done, right? So another tip that I have is be patient. Teach this person patiently what a mental illness is. Don't imagine that when you sit down once and tell them, yeah, I normally get headaches, low moods, and expect them to understand. For me, it's when I look at even some of my friends or even family, it's taken them years to get to understand. In the very same way, it has also taken me years to understand my condition. It has taken me years to understand myself with living with the condition. So in the very same way that you give yourself that patience to learn your condition, be also patient with your partner. Remember, this person does not know how it feels to have a mental illness. And in fact, let me even say something else. I could be suffering from depression and anxiety disorder, and I have a partner who's suffering from depression and anxiety disorder, or maybe a friend, but what they experience and what I experience is totally different. Fine, some symptoms are similar, but you cannot say that I fully understand what Warime is going through because I have depression and anxiety. That is not the case. So be patient with your partner, teach them, walk with them, let them hold your hand, hold their hand as well. In the very same way you're expecting them to hold your hand during your illness, hold their hand as well, because it's not easy for someone to date someone with a mental illness. I'm not saying that we are not lovable. In fact, if you ask me, I think we are very lovable people. But anyway, yeah, so I mean, just know that it has to be a very deliberate relationship and growing with each other, being patient with each other, learning, failing, accepting failure, picking up and moving on. And then also something else we need to remember is that it's a normal relationship. I know there's the aspect of fine, yes, I have this mental illness, but then also remember it is a normal relationship. The relationship will be good, it will be bad, there will be the fights, there will be the silent treatment, there will be the happy times. Just remember that it is a normal relationship, so that in case something happens, and now basically like this one now, I'll basically be addressing someone who's in a relationship, that it is a normal relationship. And because sometimes you can, the fact that we with mental illnesses are slightly more sensitive than other people. And when I say this, I mean that we can have a tendency to say this person treated me like this because they know I'm unwell, you know. But we need to change that thought process. We need to change that pattern and just remember that this is actually just a normal relationship. It's just that we have this thing that I have, we both have, that we need to learn how to live with it. And by the way, guys, when I'm speaking, and this I'm speaking to the people without mental illnesses, it sounds very like, oh, you have to do this, or you have to do that. We usually live very normal lives. Like personally, I've not had a relapse for the past, I think, 3.5 months, close to 4 now. So we do have good times. And there are times when the relapse will come, it'll last maybe a week, and then it goes, and you pick yourself up and you move on with a normal life. So don't think that dating someone with a mental illness is something that's out of this world and it's stressful and it needs a lot of work. No, it's not. It's just that it might need a little extra work sometimes when the relapses come. Then, of course, something else that's very important. Take your time to build a friendship. We people with mental illnesses, we are triggered very easily. So can you imagine if in February you meet a guy, you jump into it, you're excited, you're like, oh my God, I think this is it, this is it, this is it. And then 3 months down the line, you break up and then you're back to square one. So what happens? You've affected your health. So you're recovering from a broken heart and you're also recovering from a relapse. Learn how to take your time. We are triggered very easily, and it's very important also to create a friendship with this person, because once you create a friendship with someone, that is when all these other things will come into play. The patience, the communication, the resilience, just all those things that come with having a partner who is extremely, extremely supportive to you. Then we also have, very important, and this is actually for whether you have a mental illness or not, always look out for red flags, especially to the chicks. We are the ones who tend to not to ignore red flags, and then when you're in the relationship or you've got it or you're married, and then that's when you start looking back and you're like, oh my goodness, I'd actually seen this but I ignored it. I'd actually seen that but I ignored it. So look out for red flags, guys. And red flags, I was asked for examples of red flags, and some of them for me personally is, how does a person spend money? You know, because you want to have someone who is a good man, someone who manages their money well. You don't want someone who's just constantly spending money, or yet again, for me, I don't want someone who's very mean, but I just want someone who can manage their money properly. So how does this person spend their money? How do they handle stress? That is also something else that's very, very important. How does this person handle stress? Do they get stressed? Do they have outbursts? Do they insult people around them? I mean, some of these things that we tend to be like, lakini, it's just because he was angry. Guys, when you meet someone, and this is something that my mom told me a long time ago, that when you meet someone, that is the best that you have found them. So if you found this person digging their nose, let me tell you, when you get married to that person, because see right now, you're putting up this face, you're putting up this front, you want this person to look at you in a certain way. So if he's a nose picker, maybe you'll be doing it once in a while, then he remembers, oh, I'm with my babe, let me. Now imagine now when you're in the digs, when you've gotten married, sazile mumezoeana, this guy's finger will constantly be up his nose, Okay, that's a disgusting example I've given, but I mean, red flags, these small things that we usually ignore are very, very important. So guys, ultimately, what are we saying in today's video? Remember that communication is very, very key in a relationship, and especially if you have a mental illness. Communicate well, have an emergency plan with your partner, do not expect too much from them. Remember, they are also learning, be patient with them. This is also something new to them, they do not understand. So there's a lot more that encompasses your relationship. So guys, if anyone else has any other points to add on this, please put them on the comment section below, comment on the video, and yes, we shall see you in my next video, guys. Take care, God bless you.